What's going on, everybody? The Olympics is here, and I am Spencer Tillis.
And I'm Haley Milon. We got our red, white, and blue on today.
Supporting the country. This is the Delmarva Sports Insider, and coming up in just a bit in today's episode, can you feel it in the air? The NFL season is almost back. The first preseason game just hours away, and I tell you what, we stopped by the Eagles camp, and we're going to have a preview of that team coming up here in just a bit.
The District 3 team began play in the Senior League World Series this week for softball.
Plus, with the fall sports season just days away, we're going to go ahead and count down the top 10 storylines that you need to know on which teams and players have the biggest expectations and, dare I say, the most pressure going into the season.
But let's start it off with some NFL. The quarterback position has been somewhat of a carousel ride in Philadelphia in recent years. With the second overall pick of this year's draft, the Eagles selected Carson Wentz. While the franchise is hoping he'll pan out to be a long-term solution, the rookie, he's adjusting to an entirely new offense and certainly faces a pretty big learning curve during training camp.
I'm feeling comfortable. Every day we're installing more. We're learning more. So it's a process. It's not just you get it all overnight. It's a process. So mistakes that were made today hopefully get cleaned up tomorrow. Never try and learn from all those mistakes. But I'm feeling pretty comfortable with where I'm at.
It sounds like head coach Doug Peterson is firm in his stance that Sam Bradford will be the starting QB, but Wentz has impressed a lot of people thus far, and he sure looks like he belongs in the league. It's intriguing because of the quarterback competition, the possible quarterback competition up in Philly. Chase Daniel knows the offense. Bradford, he's learning it, and you got the new rookie who could really shine.
And it'll be really fun to see how this plays out because Carson Wentz, a lot of people are talking about him. Like, they're pretty excited with what they've seen. He's done very well so far in the camp, especially in the red zone, and that is obviously where the money is made. But obviously they put a lot of money in Bradford. He wasn't happy to start off. He's starting to maybe kind of come around a little bit. No one likes when they feel like their spot might be up for grabs. But make no mistake, I feel like it definitely is. If he doesn't perform well early on in this thing with as well as Wentz has performed, there's a good chance that you might be seeing a change there, whether it maybe comes week 4, week 5. First few weeks will go a long way to defending that. Well, a new quarterback in town, and there's also a new sheriff there as well. Head coach Doug Peterson getting ready for his first season controlling the sidelines in Philly, but a lot of responsibility this year on the shoulders of new offensive coordinator Frank Reich. Now, he comes over from San Diego where he held the same position for the Chargers last year. Before that, he held a number of position coaching jobs dating all the way back to 2008 with the Indianapolis Colts. A very well-respected man around the league and one that has several high-scoring offenses under his belt.
I mean, you look at how this system performed in Kansas City the last 3 years, playoff team. So I think we're going to be very, very strong up front. We're very strong, quarterback. Our running back and wide receiver mix. We got playmakers. We got playmakers, and but it's got to develop. It's got to develop.
Those last 5 words are pretty much all you need to know about that entire soundbite. We got playmakers. We got talent over place. We just got to develop it. Anytime that's what you end with, you're in trouble. And I think that's what's looking at offense. I do like him as the offensive coordinator. He actually was a quarterback coach before that, which will fit kind of nicely, obviously, as you want to kind of groom Wentz possibly. I mean, they're the franchise, or he's the franchise quarterback moving forward. Bradford also is very similar to Phillip Rivers, the quarterback that he's used to dealing with. They're both pocket passer type, prototypical type quarterbacks. They don't really want to get on the outside of the pocket. So I think that'll fit very well for both of those guys. It's just, there's not that many weapons on there. I don't really think it's going to be as high scoring as a lot of Eagles fans would hope. Yeah. But you just got to develop.
You got to think that Reich and Peterson are going to mesh well together. Yeah. Peterson described his offense as West Coast-ish, which I know you like.
Yeah, that's fine.
Out there on the West Coast. But you got to think this offense is going to be somewhat of a menagerie of the offenses in San Diego and in Kansas City. So it'll be interesting to see what we see on the field on that side of things in Philadelphia. Now, with the revamped coaching staff this season, we will get a new look at the Jim Schwartz defense. You may remember Schwartz transformed a porous Bills defense into a formidable one in 2014. We saw he had a propensity for defending against the double team. That's what we know about him. He uses aggressive man coverage, but we also know he can make the best out of his personnel to adjust to certain situations. And corner Ron Brooks is ready for the change Schwartz is going to bring.
It's just it's an attitude, it's a mindset that he brings that is It's just, it's very focused and it's very driven and it's very detailed, and we're goal-oriented on what we're trying to do. So playing for Coach Schwartz is definitely a fun time.
So do you remember back in the day when the Eagles prided themselves on that tough Philly defense?
It's
and
been a
that
while.
Gritty
It
defense?
has been a while.
A lot of people are speculating that the defense is going to be the backbone of this team, and that's the direction that this defense under Schwartz is going to head in. So that would be great, but he's known as a perfectionist, and it's going to be a better red zone defense, which has been a problem as of late for the Eagles.
Well, it can't be much worse. And when you start looking at the quarterbacks, especially in that, I mean, they were torched last year in the passing game. It wasn't too bad up front. They have some pretty good pieces up there, but they need some help in the quarterback spot. We'll see if he can tinker with the pieces that he has in play, hopefully kind of pull that together. All right, fantasy football players, now it's time for what you really want to see. Tune in for this. We're talking wideouts now. And it starts and pretty much ends with Jordan Matthews, who figures to be the #1 again on the outside. He's coming off a great season. He had 85 catches for 997 yards, 8 touchdowns, all of which were team best. But he's definitely in need of a few help out there because they needed to get some new pieces, and they did that in free agency. It comes in the form of former Giants wideout Ruben Randall. While he should help with the numbers area, the team is really hoping that he serves as a veteran presence as both mentoring Matthews as well as Nelson Aguilar.
Pretty good feedback. I just got to continue to get better, fix my mistakes. We're all still fresh in this offense, so we're going to make mistakes, but it's all about getting better and not making no mistakes again. I think everyone in the receiver room has picked it up pretty well. We're all playing fast now, and with this first week being by, I think we all have a little bit more confidence in ourselves, so it should be fun.
I'll go ahead and put it this way. If you're a fantasy football player, which I am, you start with Matthews, and then that is where you stop because there is not too many people. I mean, Randall will be able to put a little bit in there, but I don't really see even another 500-yard receiver on this team. No one that's going to be doing too much of anything. Matthews is nice, but even he is not really a true #1 receiver in my book. They don't have weapons on the outside. The worst part is they don't really have that quarterback that can really produce for a wideout that needs a little help. I mean, it's going to be a pedestrian, I'll say, passing attack this year.
But you got to know Jordan Matthews, 8 TD catches last season. He set the team high, and that kind of matches what you saw from Randall with the Giants. So maybe if you combine the two of them, you have a solid.
But Matthews showed sparks of being special. It's just it was so inconsistent with him. That was the problem. If he with a veteran presence, maybe he can start to figure it out, be a little bit more consistent, truly become that #1. It's probably at least a year away in my book, though. I feel like he's not quite there yet.
Yeah, but you got to think that he's going to help out Josh Huff, who struggled making a lot of mistakes last season, and Aguilar, who struggled with injuries,
Aguilar
and that's got to set you back a good amount.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can spin that around a little bit.
All right, from the NFL to the softball diamond, the District 3 Senior League team takes the national stage right here in Delmarva. We'll fill you in on the other side of the break.
Nolan Henderson, quarterback, Smyrna High School. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.